Don't look for her too?
No, not really.
Couple box ice cream sandwiches from Swan's Man. You're good to go.
You're fine, good.
I'll call the meeting to order. Mike? Present. Rick? Here. John?
Here.
Here.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I need a motion for the consent agenda.
Motion to consent.
Motion to our second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Public input is time and place for discussion of items not already on the agenda with a time limit of 3 minutes each. Okay. I'm going to step off as the mayor and who as a citizen. I just want to thank all the departments that showed up Friday, the week before Friday. Vernon-Lisbon Police Department, Vernon-Lisbon Ambulance, Vernon Fire Department, Lisbon Fire Department, the DNR, Vernon Public Works, Lisbon Public Works, Boone County EMA, and Mechanicsville and Martell both called down here asking us if we need help. It was classified as a straight line winds, Braden? Yes. I don't see, I mean, they said a straight line winds out south, which my two big air conditioners flew to the south, so I don't know how they determined that, but they did. But I want a big shout out to them as a citizen of Lisbon and as also the mayor. Discussion possible action on reference to pay estimate number 1 to Cahoy Pump Services Incorporated in the amount of $18,552.36.
So Dave couldn't be here tonight, but he went through this, verified the unit price and the quantity. He's good to pay this. This is the first payment for the well.
Motion?
Motion to approve the payment to Coboy Services for $18,552.36.
Got a motion and a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Public hearing for a comprehensive plan. Motion to go into public hearing.
Motion to go into public hearing.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
So Tom Gruis is here from ECOG. He's been helping us with the comprehensive plan. I think he's gonna share his computer. We did put the slides in the packet. He's just gonna kind of go over the highlights of it and answer any questions that you have. So Tom, go ahead.
This is, I think I need to have the sharing enabled.
It's probably on the bottom, Christina.
There you go, right there.
Share screen?
Yep. Well, it's letting you share the screen. Is there an arrow next to the share screen where it allows you to have multiple people?
See?
Nobody go figure it out?
Sure.
Go to the share screen, but click on the arrow next to it, the down arrow next to it. There you go, multiple, there you go. Now you should be able to.
Look at her.
That's pretty much what I was gonna do too.
Okay.
Here we go. Alright.
You
I
should
think
be on your
having-
computer if you want to follow along there.
So how do we get to that?
It should be right on your computer, scroll down in your packet.
Yep.
You can read that? Can't hardly see it.
My pair of glasses. Not
You wanna enlarge that?
Dolly World.
You wanna enlarge that?
No, I'm just fine.
Alright, thank you for having me. I'm Tom Gruis, I'm a planner from the East Central Iowa Council of Governments. We worked with the city for the update to the comprehensive plan. which is going to be a general visioning document to kind of help council and other leaders of the community take action on goals and objectives that we've laid out in the plan to kind of help the future development of the city. All right, so there's been a couple opportunities, or a couple meetings that have been held to go over the information in the comprehensive plan. So tonight I'm going to keep it a little bit higher level. It's also been available to residents through the website for a couple months, or a few months, actually. So I'm just going to briefly touch on some of the public engagement activities that we went through, which were a large driver of the goals and objectives for the plan. I'll go over the goals that we came up with the plan and talk a little bit about the objectives, but there's a lot of those, so I won't go into all of those. And then talk about the future land use map update and touch on some things regarding implementation of the plan, since it covers a period of about 20 years. So, and then just very briefly talk about what we're doing here tonight, which is the adoption of the plan. All right, so the public engagement, we went through we came up with several different activities that we implemented for the plan to try to get input from residents through various methods. One of the first ones that we did, which was actually, I thought a lot of fun, we did an activity with the school where we met with one of the classrooms here and kind of talked a little bit about what we were doing for the update to the comprehensive plan and the purpose of the plan. And I thought we had a really great discussion with the high school students who were involved. I thought we might show up and they might not participate, but they had a lot to say about their community and what they liked about it and what they'd like to see in the future. So they touched on some similar things that we got in feedback in other places too. They like the small town atmosphere. They kind of focused a little bit more on seeing a few more recreation activities. And one of the interesting things about the high school feedback that we got was that more of the high school students saw the development of the new Highway 30 exit as not necessarily positive for the future of the community, but in the community survey it was kind of the opposite from the people who participated there. So a lot of good discussion with the high school students. One of the first opportunities beyond that for input was a town hall meeting where we held some discussions with participants. We held a couple meetings through Zoom due to COVID-19 restrictions at the time. And the main takeaway there was that Lisbon strives to be a vibrant community with a small town feel. And really preserving the small town feel of Lisbon was feedback that came up again and again throughout the different engagement activities. We also conducted a survey that commenced with the first town hall meeting and was open for a few weeks. And that was available online and in print so that we had the easiest access possible. And there was a separate version that went to the high school students. And we got a pretty good response rate from the high school students as well. As part of the planning process, we also held 3 roundtable discussions that were a little bit more focused around particular topics. So we held them related to land use and development, economic development, and trails. And so we had a little additional participation through those meetings. And it was an opportunity to also talk about some possible ideas for how action could continue on some of those topics, not necessarily from the city, but from being driven within the community. We also had an online mapping activity, which we would have started also with the town hall meeting. That was a way for us to get some geographic information and feedback, which helped us for the update of the future land use map, which is just a general vision for the future development of the city. It's not really binding on any properties the way a zoning map is, but it should be a document that's used for land use decisions by recommendations from the Planning and Zoning Commission and land use decisions by the City Council. So that was available on our site. Most of the feedback that we got through that tool was related to trails. So through that and the community survey, we were seeing some interest in trails from residents in Lisbon. And then finally, we held a second town hall meeting, which was an opportunity to go over the draft goals and objectives for the plan with the community and receive any feedback. Just kind of talk generally about the direction of the plan. So we're going to move on now and just talk about the goals and objectives and kind of how they're laid out in the plan. There's some different areas where they can be found. So I'll go over that. So as I stated previously, a lot of our feedback was related to how important small town character of the community is. So all the goals and objectives were created to support that interest from residents. So for the plan, we divided kind of the proposed activities for the cities into goals and objectives, where the goal is a broad aspirational statement of intent for the direction of development in Lisbon. So it's kind of stating generally some of the outcomes that you would like to see. And then the objectives are a little bit more specific than the goals and are associated with, so each goal has a number of objectives. And those are actions that the city or other members of the community can take towards realizing the associated goal. So this slide has screenshots from the plan to show the 3 different locations where the goals can be found in the plan. And it's kind of a different purpose for each one. In the introduction to the plan, we've included all the goals and objectives. And that's just to give, I think it's in about 2 pages, it shows all the goals and objectives for the plan. So right up at the front of the plan, since the goals are kind of the heart of the plan, it can all be viewed in a very succinct manner there. And then within each content chapter in the plan, we've repeated the goals and objectives that are associated with the topic. So those can show up in a couple different chapters. But we've got the goals and objectives, and then within the topics, they're included there too for where they'd be relevant. And then along with those goals and objectives, there's associated tools and potential funding resources to kind of help with the provide some idea for the implementation of those. And then finally, we do have a goals and implementation chapter, and that's the image on the right. And this one provides a rationale with each goal and objective, which is where we provided a little bit more context for how the goal and objectives relate to input from residents or other data that we were able to collect for the community, or for a few objectives, just some kind of best practices. So with those different locations where you can find the goals and objectives, I did include a slide to go over the 10 goals for the plan. Like I said, these ones are kind of broad aspirational statements, but we try to stick with the ones that we've got the most response or most support for through feedback from the various engagement efforts that we went through. And I don't think I'll take the time to read through those unless you'd like me to, since the plan's been made available for everyone. This is just an example too. I do have more information if there's any questions from anyone. I can certainly go into any of the goals or objectives. As part of the update to the comprehensive plan, we've also updated the future land use map. And some of the key changes to that, the geographic scope's a little bit larger. Lisbon has a lot of land within its city boundaries that's not developed. But we expanded to some areas a little outside of the city that are adjacent to existing development, just so that if proposals for development happen there, there's something in the plan already to point to kind of how you envision that development taking place. So obviously the compared to the previous comprehensive plan, there wasn't much in there. Or actually, I don't know if there's anything in there in regard to land use around the new Highway 30 exit. So that's been included in the map. And then along with kind of the expansion of the geographic area, we kept kind of a imagine future development north of the railroad tracks as industrial, kind of keeping with the existing industrial park. So this is a copy of the plan, or the future land use map that's in the plan.
So put in that, on that page there, we did expand our city limits.
What's that?
We didn't expand our city limits on that, the future land map.
Nope, we don't have, you don't have to expand the city limits. This is just more of having a general idea of if there were development proposals within that area, the type of development that the city would like to see. So, and then you would, you probably have the development proposal that includes annexation, and probably monetary annexation at the time, most likely. So, and then kind of with the feedback that we got, there was input stating that most people felt like commercial development around the Highway 30 exit made the most sense. And there are points in the plan kind of highlighting that there's some challenges that go along with that, but it would, there's probably reasons that development provides some other benefits to kind of balance some of the potential costs, but it would, you know, take a good proposal from a developer. But that would probably be a good use of that land to provide some additional amenities to get highway traffic from 30. And then that's would be kind of the route into town too. So that is the new future land use map that we came up with. And then, so in terms of the implementation, so the plan's only as useful as community kind of allows it to be. You don't want it to be a document that sits on the shelf. So we put some resources into it to kind of help with annual review of the plan. Like I said previously, this is designed kind of as a roughly 20-year plan, but especially if you start seeing some higher growth, it could make sense to revisit the plan sooner than 20 years from now. But there's the 10 goals, and then along with those, there's 47 different objectives that we came up with. So there's kind of a whole menu of items that the city or possibly a community champion could initiate and try to take on and make some progress on. So in these implementation tables, which are part of the appendix to the plan, these are sheets that you can print out to you know, mark up on and take notes about what are the highest priority actions for the council and things that you might want to take steps on. in, in the short term, depending on what the, current most popular topics from the community are, and, kind of as funding opportunities change over time, it gives you kind of different things that could be pursued, and place to take notes on those to make sure that the projects that get started, there's some follow-up on those. And we've identified some potential partners for the different objectives as well. This is just a really brief slide. I'll just point out that the plan did go to the Planning and Zoning Commission for review, and they recommended adoption of the plan. So the hearing is the next step in the plan adoption, and then it's up to the council if they want to adopt the plan by resolution. So that's all I have that I wanted to go over, but I'm happy to take any questions.
Any questions? I just want to say I appreciate all the time you guys have spent on this. I mean, it isn't something you just throw over the weekend. I do appreciate all that time you guys have spent on this. Thank you very much. Anyone else got anything? Need a motion to go to public hearing. Motion. Got a motion, do I have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, resolution 08-2023 approving the adoption of the comprehensive plan from 2021 to 2021 to 2041. Yeah.
So moved. Second.
A motion is second. Sarah?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Rick?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Thank you very much for your work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
Public hearing for fiscal year 24 budget. Need a motion to go to public hearing.
Motion to go into public hearing.
Need a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
So we kind of talked about this before. As you'll see in my notes, there was some money cut out of the rollback bill that passed. We talked about that, so we had to kind of revamp this whole thing. It was around 60,000.
Yeah.
60,000 less that came in for tax money than I talked about that before. With this, I felt comfortable moving ahead based on how our fund balances are. This basically gets all the requests that were proposed to you guys through the budget meetings. And you'll notice in the notes, our tax rate will go down to 0.06%, which a lot of people say trying to keep it steady is the way to go. So that's a very small decrease that shouldn't affect anything. So Christine and I would be happy to answer any questions.
All these numbers for property value assessment, that's not, this is what it's assessed at now, not what we're getting in the mail.
Well, it's behind, so this would be now, yes, correct.
Because what we're getting in the mail takes effect like in 18 months or something, is that right?
Yeah, I think it's, yeah, I think so,
I
yeah.
think so.
Yeah, it'd be July of next year.
Do you have any questions for Brandon?
So does this have anything to do with like, the union contract stuff? Raises?
So, you kind of have to, when you go ahead with this, I've been going with what we've been doing at 5%, just to figure in a number. But that if you want to go more, then, you can go more. If you want to go less, then it'll be less. But raises, start in July. Obviously, we're doing our budget now. It's got to be beforehand. The other one, we just found our city insurance went up. We had to kind of shoot for that, what we thought it was going to be. We talked to Morningstar. And then also the other item that we just received was our health insurance. And we tried to consult them, and they've seen usually a 10 to 12%. I think we figured 12 is what we did. It came in at 11.
11.6, I think.
So all those things, you just kind of project where we,
How much does the insurance go for city?
18,000?
I
You
just.
talking health insurance or?
No, the regular.
No.
More than like 8.
I'd say regular, just under 20,000.
You can see the bill in the,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
With this shortfall, do we have to cut back or cut out anything?
no, I felt comfortable with the fund balances where they were, that we could move ahead with all the asking. So it's gonna be, you know, going forward, like the, general fund, so, that's like your park and rec, history center, all those come out of that general fire. We just have to keep an eye on that moving forward and, see where that's at. But if you see all tonight, does not include the FEMA money that's coming from the fire gear, I don't believe, does it? So there's like 200.
Submitted for it though.
Like 282,000 in that fund, so I'm pretty comfortable with moving forward with it.
Any questions for?
So, when you put that in there, you put it in there for straight 5%?
That's how I figured it, and so actually, I met with John and Dave about the contract, and so here coming up, probably in the next meeting or two, will be the union contract for the council to vote on. But I just put forward straight across the board, 5% for everybody, and that's the number I used. Similar to like the overtime, there's a calculation that's in there for overtime a month. Could, you know, depending on the situation, could be higher, could be lower. So you just gotta kind of shoot for a number, put that in there. And then like each employee, like for instance, mine, some of it comes out of general, some of it comes out of water, some of it comes out of sewer, and some of it comes out of roads. And there's, I think everybody, a lot of people are split like that, like a percentage of what they do comes out of each.
But we put 5% in for his budget, that doesn't mean they're getting a 5% raise. Their budget.
They can go higher, you can go lower.
Yeah,
That's what
Yeah.
their union contract might be a 3% raise, you know.
That's just the number that I thought would be the average, and we can adjust accordingly, so.
once it's in a union contract, is that you can't go below it.
You can't go below it. Correct.
Which you know, we know about it. Any other questions for Brandon or Christina? Any motion to go out of public hearing?
Motion go out of public hearing.
Got a motion, and a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 09-2023 approving fiscal year 2024 budget. Got a motion?
I make a motion to approve fiscal year 24 budget.
Got a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Mike?
I just gave you a second.
Yes. Yeah, do a roll call.
I know, I'm just being smart
I know.
aleck, but yes.
I'm not calling on you anymore.
Everett?
Rick?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Sarah?
Aye.
Set public hearing for utility rate increases for April 24th, 2023.
This is just for the, when they issue the bonds, they have a set schedule, what they need to go up each year, so this is just to set a public hearing in order to do that. And I put down April 24th.
Motion for April 24th.
So moved.
A motion, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution 11-2023, approving TIF rebate transfer from Four Brothers Market.
Christine, you want this one?
Each year we have the TIF rebates, Brothers, and then budget blinds. This is actually Brothers Market's final one. So they've paid their property taxes, so they now qualify for their second half of their TIF rebate.
And this is their last one.
This is it. We've had 10 years of them, so.
All right, throw them to the curb, just kidding.
No, to promote more
Yes,
expansion if they would like
yes,
to
there you
continue.
go, there you go. That's
Yes.
a better way of throwing it out there instead of keeping them to the curb.
Need a motion?
They're on their own.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Sarah?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Rick? Aye.
Aye.
Resolution 12-2023, approving summer operational help, operator help.
So this is the operator position. If you recall, we have 2 summer help kids from last year, and I wanted to add a third. And then I also wanted seasonal help, and this is gonna be for mowing, weed eating, any other thing like that. Typically, we don't have the summer help kids riding mowers and do any of the mowing unless we're really in a bind and need it.
So how old were the summer help kids?
They would be
16?
over 16, under 18.
Same people,
What's that?
same as last year.
They'll be, the 2 that I spoke to want to come back.
So how old are they? They're seniors, right?
They'd be 18.
Why can't they mow?
Probably could if they didn't put in for it.
Yeah, I think they do probably have to be 18 though, because it'd be considered hazardous.
So like
Yeah.
what we were gonna do with one of them was, the one, if they were coming back, which I did confirm this week, that they want to come back. So that'll be another meeting where I have that one, because I need to interview for another position. But the one that was coming back, we were gonna have that person help with wherever Travis needed, whether it be assistance on the water main project, running water samples, different things like that. My plan was to have Travis go, have him get it the first day, kind of show him some of the tools, where they're at in the shop, where you need to go and get, in the event that they did this. If you remember, the bids came in pretty cheap for Brecky, all things considered, and they were way lower than everybody else. And a lot of the things that we're doing, like Travis is the on-site inspector, that cuts back from that bill. So therefore, they didn't have to pay for that position, they didn't have to bid that position. So we're saving money, far more money by dedicating somebody to help assist with this project than we are what we paid somehow. So it seemed like a no-brainer to do that.
So what does Drayton mow?
What's that?
What's he gonna mow? Is he gonna move parks or?
He's got the park, I mean, you know, listen.
All of the parks.
I mean, I'll still mow from sun up to sundown every day, so.
Basically, we're gonna have a sports complex. So this person is going to mow the sports complex and help with McMahon's. Is essentially what they're doing.
That is the summer help, right?
What's that?
The summer help?
That is
The
the operator, this is.
Well, does he operate? Yeah, I see this.
So
I'm just wondering with the summer help, what's their part?
they got mulching all the parks, they got watering. We're gonna have to go over, we gotta go over the park and do all that trench. They're gonna have all this grass seed that's gonna be going in.
And they only work part-time. They're only like, is it 18 hours?
They play baseball.
I think what Rick's trying to get to is, why isn't the 2 summer helps mowing, helping mow? And you could use that part-time or more with Travis. So I'm just, on that side. But if we don't have, let's say they get done at 11 o'clock with all their watering or something, why couldn't we have those 2, or have one of them mowing instead of having the operator?
So you wanna hire,
You don't have to have an operator, you don't have to be an operator to get on a mower,
okay?
right?
Well,
We're hiring 2 help, right?
You're hiring a total of 4. There's
Total of 4?
3 summer help kids, that
Okay.
are traditional summer help kids, and then
Okay.
you're hiring this operator to assist mow.
Trade them. Well, I think what Rick's getting to is, those 3, why can't they mow? And then mow? And
Well,
then
they
take
probably
the-
could, but I
and then take that seasonal one and dedicate that one more to Travis than, I mean, if you're gonna have them on seasonal help, helping Drayton, go over there, those 2 places, I mean, he's gonna be there 20 hours, 10, 15 hours a week. Where Travis is the one that's gonna need the help.
I think, yeah, I get what you're saying, but
Is that what you were getting at, Rick?
I think these guys only work like 4 hours a day. They're not,
We got them work as long as we want.
They don't.
no, it's part-time. They have baseball. I mean, they have a baseball game at 10 o'clock in the morning. You know what I mean? They're strictly part-time, aren't they? I mean, how many hours do they work a week?
No more than 30, and
Yeah.
usually they're around 20 to 25.
Yeah, but 20 hours, you think is not 4 hours a day, I mean, you're working,
I mean,
4 times 5 is 20 hours.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you get on a mower, you're gonna mow for an hour and then do all the other work, that's not really gonna get a lot of mowing done.
I think, you know, we should leave it up to the people on staff. to
I,
say who
I
needs to
absolutely
be
agree.
Where do they need to go?
When, where, but we're not paying these people any fringe benefits, which is a huge savings. And,
What are we paying?
Hourly, that's it,
So the third,
hourly. They don't
No,
get
I understand
benefits.
hourly, but how much is that?
Well, you asked earlier who's getting the $18 an hour, that's the operator.
That's the operator.
yeah.
The other three, I don't know if they're,
so the 13, last year, summer help kids made 13. What I was going to present to personnel and to the council was that the two that come back get $14 an hour. And then hire the new one at 13. And then the entry level for public works is just under 22. So 18 was split the difference, is why I did that. I did present this before. I know the main focus was making sure that, because we had 40-some acres to mow, was making sure that we had that covered. I think with this position, and based on, he was the only applicant for this position, and based on what he's asking for, it's not a lot of hours. He really doesn't probably want 30 hours a week. So I think it's perfect to.
So you're saying Brian,
Correct.
that's who you're
Yep.
speaking of there?
And he wants, if we only need him 6 hours that week, he's fine with that. But he knows that where he's gonna have to mow, I've explained to him that I'm pretty flexible on when he wants to mow, but we can't let the grass get over a certain height, and so it's gonna be on him he's gonna mow the same thing over and over again. And then if there's opportunities to help elsewhere and he's available, great. But that was kind of the thought with it. If you wanna go all summer help and scratch this position,
I'm not saying scratch this position. I'm saying that I think this position should be dedicated more to Travis's, and maybe one of the summer help is dedicated more to mowing.
and I can check with him to do it, but like I said, he's the lone applicant that I've had. I've had several summer help kids, but this is the lone applicant, and I'm not sure that I can ask.
Because, you know, in all honesty, when they get done up here, I mean, they're gonna start moving pretty quick, and Travis is gonna have to be there quite a bit. And you're gonna have a sports complex, you're gonna have a building going up over there, you know, and, I mean, you can do the runaround too, but Travis is gonna have to answer a lot of questions. You know, and, I mean, if Brian can run water samples down or whatever, I mean, just alleviate.
Well, and that's some of it too. I told him, I said, you know, if it rains all week or we get into a drought, he may have to run samples down. I mean, it's just kind of a jack of all trades, and the thought was there's gonna be 2 summer kids coming back that helped last year. One can train the new kid, and then the other one can go with Travis. He already knows the ins and outs of the shop from working the year before. Where if Travis needs supplies or needs tools or whatever, that person can get it.
So you were gonna take one of those 3 and put them with Travis? Okay,
So
so I don't have a problem with that either.
yeah,
I mean, I don't have a problem with that.
I was gonna put with one of them
Okay,
with Travis, because they've been here the previous year,
okay,
and they kind of know the ropes.
okay.
This position was gonna be strictly for mowing, and yes, those guys could help if we get in a bind, or, you
So
know,
we're hiring 3.
4.
tonight, yes, but tonight, this is just for the operator position. This one is one that I was planning to hire, and
We've already okayed
remember,
3 people.
it was gonna be from April, as the grass, usually by now we're mowing, so it was gonna be like the next couple of weeks through like the end of the growing season. Where the summer help is once school gets out till school starts, so it's about a 6-week window where they come and help. You know, they did the fire hydrants last year, they just do all the miscellaneous, they mulch around parks.
Well, here's my question, because you can have too much help, and now you're just guiding them.
I promise you this summer, we cannot, well, that is not gonna be.
We're technically a guy down.
In Hampton,
During the
so
summer
they're
last year, how many hours-
behind.
How many hours were you mowing last year? When it was, I mean, when you had the most certain things 3 times a week?
I mean, I'm always behind, so we're like.
You know, I mean, we spent $18,000 on a brand new mower that's, I mean, I still don't think it's big enough, but, I mean, you got a lot of land between Mac Mills, a sports complex, come on.
We're still, we'll be painting lines, watering plantings, all those things they did
And
last
then
year.
there's gonna be all this,
And a lot of
all
that's
this
gonna,
seeding coming for the
seeding, you know, to keep it
the
warm.
main project, because those are all going through the parking.
And this is all gonna depend on weather too, whether we get rain or whether we
Right.
don't.
Now, so but I'm
Last
confused.
question.
I've got a question. My question is we are doing the seeding or we're contracting that whole project out?
Correct, but it's gotta grow, right? I mean,
Once it,
once you seed it, they're gonna seed it, yes, they're gonna seed and grade it and do all that, I mean, that's in the contract. But after that, you know, we have to, you know, if it dries out, we're gonna have,
I understand all the, go ahead, whatever.
no, I'm just, but I don't know what your question is though.
Well, my question is that we said that we were seeding. I understood it to say, and we're not. We're not seeding that.
well, we'll be seeding some spots. I mean,
Brandon.
we're gonna have a lot of trees that we're taking out. that's
We
in
still have
there
stumps that are still out there.
that we gotta seed. I mean,
We
we're
have to put
seeding
dirt in.
Whatever.
Well, we're gonna have to water that. These guys aren't gonna plant grass.
I think, I just want to throw this out there. I think Brandon, between Brandon and Travis, they know where these guys need to be at. We don't see their day-to-day. We don't know where these guys need to be at. Clearly, we need help, and we always have summer help. We're adding how many acres down here? We should not be questioning what Brandon's going to do with these guys. Brandon knows exactly what needs to be done. Travis knows what needs to be done. They know it every day. We are not here to micromanage them, period.
Well, I'll contradict that because we are here to manage the city of Lisbon.
Absolutely. But we're not here, we are not here
But
to manage the
asking
staff.
questions, asking questions is not micromanaging.
Nope, but driving around and asking them what they're doing
I never heard
is.
anybody micromanage anything.
I'll make a motion to hire blind lights at $20 an hour.
20?
Yep.
Motion at 20, for a second.
Now, question, has he already accepted 18?
That's what I offered, he said that you'd do it for that,
No, I don't see why we should offer more than what they requested.
I agree.
When it's already been
Well, I
agreed.
got a motion on the table for $20 an hour.
And your motion,
Do I have a second? Motion fails for lack of second. Do I have another motion on the table?
motion to approve at $18 an hour.
Got a motion to approve Brian at $18 an hour. Do I have a second?
A second.
Got a motion is second. Sarah?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Rick?
Hey,
Mike?
Aye.
Motion passes.
you don't lose that big gold there.
No, but we're
Oh,
talking
you
about the same person.
You're cheap, man, you're cheap.
No. I
Correspondence.
wasn't saying, but, we won't-
You don't have any? City engineer report.
Yeah, I got, the shutdown went about as easy as possible for us on Saturday. Very little hiccups in that. They've got it backfilled today. Hopefully concrete will be in that hole here in the next day or two so we can get that opened up and until we start on the rest of Washington. We have scheduled another shutdown on Jackson Street. We hung the door tags. Now with the way that the DNR asks and the regulations, when we have to sample, we can't sample again until 24 hours, 1 minute later than the first one.
Is it all jacks or just?
No, it's just the between 4th and 5th, and then part of 4th, or all of 4th is gonna be on this shutdown just from the way the valvings work.
But you've got tagged out to them already.
We got the tags out there now. Those tags are notifying them that they might be losing their water. The way the valves worked, me, Brandon and I talked, we opted not to have the line stops put in, which was gonna cost us about 14, almost 15,000 just for the line stops that we were gonna throw away. We're gonna valve it off. This section might get bigger by a block. So once we get everything shut off and see actually who this does affect 100%, we're gonna go back around and hang the boil advisories up to let them know, and then put on that, Brandon's phone number, my phone number. So if they have questions about it, they can contact us, and then we should be able to let them know like how long the advisory would be for. And
Our issues, we have valves that we thought were there that aren't, and then we have ones that we can't find. So it's kind of a trial by error, I guess, if you will. But the plan is to communicate that they may lose water, and I guess the point is if you lose water, as soon as it comes back on, you're gonna have a boil advisory for 3 days. And if it's sooner, we can let them know. That's,
Okay. All right, anything else, Dave?
we'll just kind of work through town, and that's how, through each step. Is there anybody that's gonna lose it twice?
yeah, though this part of this shutdown will be lost twice. Because what we're doing is we're shutting it down, capping the 4-inch main, so we can turn it back on immediately, which would let all of 4th Avenue have water again. But then when we make the connection at 4th Avenue, we'll have to shut it down again, so 4th Avenue will lose it twice. And this is gonna be an ongoing thing. I mean, it's pretty minor. I mean, when we do the shutdown, everything's sitting there, everything's exposed, it's prepped. It's not like we're starting to dig anymore. I mean, we're making sure we're ready to go. Any other questions on the water?
Any questions for Dave, or Dave, anything else?
Yep.
So, let me just use the devil's advocate here. So if you're doing an inspection on the things and let's say a couple months later unseals itself and stuff, is the city liable for that, or will the company that put it in be liable?
Company that put it in. We have steps and boundaries. I mean, obviously, you're gonna have things come up, but they've got a bid bond to cover all that stuff. So even though we're checking everything, nobody's truly responsible for a mechanical failure. But if it fails, it's ultimately beyond Breck Heat to take care of.
Anything else, Dave?
Thanks, Dave.
Public work now, it's your turn.
All right. We've got, I sound like Rick now. I must have been chewing on my straw.
Joke on the straw.
So we made our one pass through town today. A lot of people saw us out, so they started throwing leaves out. We're gonna, when we have time, the leaf truck's gonna be set up, so we got a 2-hour window, we keep passing through. But we did make it through the whole town today. We're continually working on brush. We gotta get the bathrooms opened up here. Temperatures are staying above freezing now, so we're gonna work on that. We also need to replace the dump and the splash pad, which Drayton got us warrantied out, and then get that painted. And we're gonna try to do all that before we open. And if temperatures and rain stays away and temperatures stay up, that should be no problem. Temperatures start dropping again, then we'll be in trouble there. Cemetery cleanup, we gotta have that done by the 15th. And then with that, I just want to thank all of the staff outside of Public Works that's been helping pick up slack and running around and helping us do stuff. Along with the other 2 guys in Public Works, they've been running some weird hours trying to make sure we can do everything as economically as possible for the community.
Anything else? Anybody got anything for Charles? Parks and Rec.
Just a couple things. We had our Easter event on Saturday. We had a really good turnout and a lot of positive feedback on that. We will start games for soccer tomorrow for our young age groups, and then 4th, 5th, and 6th graders will start on Thursday. And then I have a spring cleanup coming up this Saturday for all the ball diamonds, so that'll all be taken care of, all the leaves and sticks and trash and stuff like that.
Can you somehow get it out, like, on the website, or?
Yeah, that's all. I already have it.
Of people bringing leaf blowers.
We have 2, and then, yeah, people show, you'd be
Do they show up with
surprised,
something?
yeah, they show up with
Yeah.
rakes and leaf blowers and all their own stuff, so it usually goes really well, and it goes super quick, and then I just get donuts and stuff for them afterwards, and we always have a really good turnout, so I wouldn't expect anything different. Other than that, I just wanna thank Travis and the maintenance guys, because if it wasn't for them, I mean, they do a lot for me, and if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be able to get all my stuff done, and So I appreciate him, and I appreciate Ryan and Rodman. We all work together, and I help them, they help me, and it all works out really well, so,
Okay, we were supposed to get a new mower from Tom,
yeah.
and we will be able to pay for it till next year's budget, right? Did he okay to? get it?
So he couldn't okay to give it to us early because he has people that come out and check, to see, and if they come out to a shop and see that he has a mower gone, he'll have to pay out of pocket, for that mower. So originally I thought it possibly would work out, but it just ended up not working out, so we'll get it in July.
But he is holding it for us,
He is
right?
holding it,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Yep. So,
Anybody got anything for Drayton, is that it, Drayton?
yeah.
Anybody got anything for Drayton? Who's burning?
I just want to echo the mayor's earlier comments regarding the storm and the collaboration between all the city entities on that. It went very well for where we are with the impact from there. So a lot of teamwork going on, everybody kind of boots to the ground, cleaning it up quickly, so that was great. Our new officer will graduate from the academy on the 21st, so we're 2 weeks away, week and a half coming up, want to shorten it up a little bit, so excited to get him back and start training him up. We'll start seeing him around. We'll bring him into a council meeting at some point, introduce him as we go through as well. And then April 22nd, I believe, is the Wellness Coalition. We're doing the DEA drug drop. We're going to do it here at Lisbon City Hall. So we'll be here from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. for prescription drug drop off. And we are going to accept needles and syringes and stuff like that. We'll put those in a bucket and collect those as well. So.
Anybody anything for Doug? Ambulance.
I don't have anything for Linda tonight.
Fire chief.
Been very busy with calls, about every day. So thanks to all the guys who keep showing up for that. I think we're sitting right around 90 calls already for the year, which is, when I got on, that was like a record for the whole year. So kudos to everybody who's involved with that. The DFIBs arrived for the grant through the Lynn County, or from St. Luke's Foundation. If you recall, we're putting that in the pavilion at the sports complex, along with the Stop the Bleed kit. We had 3 people go up and get Stop the Bleed training. I also did Stop the Bleed training, and I think the police department did Stop the Bleed training. So that'll go out there as well. Just want to say thank you for everybody for the St. Patrick's Day donations. They're still coming in. We're already over $8,000 for the year. So thank you for all who donated. We have ordered 2 new air packs, and they actually just arrived. So those funds are going towards that. That's all I have. Happy to answer any questions.
Anybody got anything for Brandon for fire chief? City administrator.
All right, this is kind of long tonight, so bear
I
with
do
me.
have something for fire chief.
Yeah.
So when power went out, I know you guys went over Myers and all, I think I talked to you about this already. Is there a way that we can find out who all in town is on oxygen? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can get the forms. There's a form through Lynn County EMA that have it. The only problem with it is that list is like always changing. It can always need to be updated, but yes, we can.
But I mean, that's just simple not.
I believe Jake.
I was just gonna say, Jake, I'm pretty sure the ambulance service has a running list.
I don't know how, I mean, like I said, it's only as accurate as the last person updated it, but I can't think of the program right now. It's an acronym.
Yeah, but I think Jake gets it.
It's like
He's,
I can't think of the name of it, but they can sign up through there. But what I will do is I will get that information and give it to Right Way Management to make sure that they have it.
I'm not just saying over here,
No, I'll put it,
but for the whole town.
we'll put it on our website and maybe Southeast Lynn, if they have ideas of people, we can get that information down on our
website too. And stuff, yeah.
they do a really good job of contacting us early too, letting us know like, hey, I'm good right now, but just, any ideas how long it's gonna be out. And then, I'm good for the next 4 hours if it's gonna be longer than that. So it gives us a little lead time too, that we can go partner with fire, bring them into City Hall if we need to, and get, because we've got generators there and stuff like that too, so worked pretty good.
All right, start with some of the easy stuff. Met with YTT, reference to sports complex. They're still waiting on the bids, they're waiting to put the bids out for the second phase. We're also finishing up, with Dave Schmidt on the first phase. Right now, I'm having her check with them. There's the grass, the second set of grass that was planted on the south side is not growing. So we're gonna have a meeting to discuss that, what the steps are gonna be for that. The north side is growing pretty good. Now that it's dry, I'm gonna venture out there this week and do a more thorough look at that on the north side.
Was the south side done at a different time?
It was done later. It was in the window, but it was close to being out of the window. And it came up, but I was concerned then. This will be on them to mitigate, but, so.
How come they can't hide or see that? That's what they did. Yeah. So if they're gonna do it for parking.
Yes, they're gonna hide and seek the parking, so the problem is, I mean, the moisture wasn't, we were dry, and there's some other issues that happened there, so it's.
Good.
Met with Historic Preservation, Park and Rec, some other community volunteers, and with Candy Street from the Silos and Smokestacks. This is in reference to the nature park. If you remember, they signed the document, they wanted to become an emergent site, so Candy met with us to go over the details, and they got to put together a plan to do that in order to become an emergent site. So they're going to be working on that and bring that forward. Been working on several nuisances in town. Pretty good progress with that. There's always stuff that comes up, so if you happen to see something or have questions about something, please call me. But I probably dealt with 7 or so this last week. Joint school board meeting, as you probably saw my email, is official for April 26th, 7 p.m. It's over at the school. It's a Wednesday night. And I believe that was our first option, so all is good to go there. The barns, we did have some damage over there, a couple of doors. The southern barn, the doors kind of fell off the track. I don't know the details of that. That's also the one that hasn't been repaired yet or stabilized. But the hay barn also lost the door, one of the sliding doors, and that was one that Kurt Blinks fixed up. How do you want me to handle, there is no insurance on these buildings, because recall they were totaled out. Are we just fixing these, or how do we, what's your plan? 'Cause
I guess I need to know how bad it is and how much it would cost us. I mean, if I'm just hypothetically, somebody come in and said it's gonna cost you $20,000 to fix that door, I'm not doing it.
No,
I
no
don't
way.
think it'd be that, but I just,
But I mean, and then there's another thing is, once we do fix that door, why don't we nail it so they can't open one? I mean,
well, they're, now, we have been finding things like those old corner posts, and we've been putting in that hay barn. I don't know if it's currently locked or wasn't, but, I'll be honest with you, there's a machine shed on Lisbon Road that was shut, the doors were shut, and it had a cast rod that went between the handles of the doors, and when we went over there, that cast rod had snapped, so that was the pressure of that. So on those situations, the nails or whatever would have been there wasn't gonna work, so, but we've kept that one open. I mean, it's shut, but I don't know if it's locked or not, because we're finding, when they go through these water mains and they find these corner posts or have to take them out, we've been putting everything salvageable in that hay board, so.
you know, I'm just as historical as everybody else, but I mean, sitting up here, we cannot keep dumping money into something like that. I mean, I'd rather spend that on infrastructure somewhere, a new fire department, a new police car, whatever, can go in them. You know, they, like, it's a big tourist trap.
And they're not insurable. Like, you
Yeah,
can't
I mean,
have
somebody gets hurt on that
insurance.
property,
Yeah.
are they insured for that? Are we insured for that?
Well, we have liability insurance.
Liability only.
But what I'll do is I'll get some quotes and I'll give them to you, and we can go from there, but I just wanted you to know that.
Well, if it's under 5,000, you can make the call on it too.
Right.
You know.
Well, I just wanted, I kinda wanted to get, I assume we're talking 5,000 to 10,000 is my,
Does that come out of our budget, or does that come out of historical preservation? Because they don't have a budget. Their budget's used up.
so it comes out of the general fund.
Okay.
So, but I'll see what all's there. I didn't, that one building on the south, I wouldn't go in it, because there's only like 2 poles touching the
Yeah,
ground.
I wouldn't go in either.
But I'll get a quote and turn it back in. As the mayor mentioned, we did have what the weather service called straight line winds. So you'll notice the brush pickup, there's tons and tons of brush around town, we're getting it. I'm actually, just because of, I think there was one place, was it 15 loads? Yeah, 15 loads of brush from one place, so I got hold of Cy, he is gonna help us with this to get this going, so, so if you see him out and about, he is gonna help us pick that up. We had 27 total residence checks during the storm, varied from power lines on roofs to, trees through houses, roofs ripped off, businesses without roofs, and also extended out into the county. I just want to thank everybody who was here. Special thanks to Doug. As most of you know, our farm got hit. When you hear that, it's kind of surreal, and I don't know, it gets a little bit overwhelming, I guess, but because everything here goes on. So, but thanks to Doug for kind of keeping me grounded, and we got through it. City damage, our pretty white fence is damaged again out here outside City Hall. We had water, we're pouring in, but it was pretty close to pouring in the front windows here at City Hall. I do have a contractor that's already been out to start that process. We lost the new pavilion. It's probably the best $400 of insurance we ever spent, because that's covered. And then we also have at least 12 trees that were damaged and some more signs. And it seems like all the new signs we put up, most of them are the ones that got twisted again, so. And then just personally, I want to thank everybody who came out to my folks to help clean up the mess out there. There was, you name it, there was, I think every department, both in Lisbon and Auburn, had people there. There were council members there. There was, like I said, Mount Vernon city staff, people were there. So it's pretty cool to live in a town where you do and have that type of support. So I think there were 75 people there and made quick work. And, it's pretty cool to see. That's all I have. I'll take any questions.
Brandon. Councilor, Christina.
Continue to work on different reports and submitting stuff for grant reimbursements. And next week, I'll be attending IMFOA up in Des Moines, and I've also been nominated for their board. So I will be joining their board.
Congratulations.
Moving to Des Moines?
I'm not moving to Des Moines now.
Good for you.
It's gonna feel like it, but no.
Downtown's a great place to live.
Yeah.
Council board.
Hey, Doug, real quick, just as a reminder, when I send out messages to the council, I can send them out to everybody, but just don't hit reply all. If you could just hit individually, because otherwise the council's meeting, so just keep that in your mind when you do that. That's it, sorry.
Yes, sir. Mike.
This is a little off the subject, but everybody knows Elton and Bob Caspers, been lifelong residents of Lisbon. Sadly, Helen is in final stages of cancer at the University of Iowa. So keep them in your thoughts and prayers.
Bob was a long time Fire chief here. Anything else, Mike?
Nope.
Rick? John?
The Vernon-Lisbon Library is having their trivia contest this Saturday. So if you're interested in that, you can have a team of up to 8 people. It's $80 per table. We sign up at 5:30. Call ahead though and get registered with the library. So otherwise you may show up and all the tables are taken. Also, Gwen will have a buffet there. So if you're interested in that, call ahead to Gwen's number and reserve your meal there, or she needs to know how many people to plan for. Seems like I saw something about AED training for the ambulance service. Was that this Saturday? Does anybody know?
I'm not sure.
I saw something on it. But if you're interested in that, it was a free training, call the ambulance service. That's all I have.
Sir?
I was just kind of echo what Doug said and Brandon said about the storms. I know that it's a village, right? Like, police department, thank you, the ambulance, fire department, city staff, it all. Oh, you wrote it down. See, I'm still young, Doug. I got it in my head. And it takes a village, so I appreciate everybody who, and stepping outside of the city council, we didn't have any damage out our way. I had damage in my parking lot, and we had an event the next day, and we had to have it cleared up by 1 o'clock for the next day. So this small town came together, and they brought out equipment, and they worked until 11 o'clock that night to get everything cleared out of our parking lot, so our event still could go on. So again, living in a small town the way we do, it's priceless. So, and then the other thing I was just gonna say is, and I say this, I think, all the time when it starts getting nice out, it's getting nice out, the little kids are walking, they're playing outside, so just be careful driving around. I know that everybody likes to drive a little bit faster when it's nice and not like to pay as much attention, so, but there are little kids walking to and from school more so just keep your eyes out, and that's all I got.
Another thing I got is, they'll be taking down those trees out the cemetery with their new machinery, I guess. But I told Travis to have Si trim up a couple other trees that's in the Catholic part of the cemetery. Just, so they're gonna be out there, might as well trim them up. We need to find out what they're gonna do with that tree by the pavilion. If they're not gonna do anything, make a eagle, whatever they want to do, let's get out of there. You know, it's been 2 years now, so let's get that done. I did tell Travis to have Si trim up some other trees, just, they're closer to, they're good trees still, just, they're hitting some gravestones and stuff. But I mean, that, you know, you don't think about it, but that's one of the first things people out of town look at is your cemetery. They go through and look at your cemetery. I think we got a very nice looking cemetery. We should try to keep it up there, so. But everything else, meeting adjourned.